There's a story. It's probably more familiar to people in the UK than in the US, but it's an interesting story. Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, married to, Prince whatever his name is, some other royal fuck. What the goddamn fuck is so great about royalty anyway? I never understood why the Brits are still fucking groveling to these assholes. It's like, yeah, why do you guys have royalty? Oh, well, it's because, you see, a long time ago, their ancestors used to oppress our ancestors. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Why don't you go buy Hitler's grandson a Ferrari, you fucking morons? I don't give a shit about these people walking around pretending that they're royalty. I don't acknowledge that antiquated bullshit, and frankly, I think that anyone who does should be ashamed. I've heard that they're good for tourism. That's what people in the UK have told me in the past when I've attacked royalty. Well, the royal family's actually good. It promotes tourism. Yes, congratulations. The whole world is willing to pay to see how backwoods and primitive you are. You've got that tourist money, and all it cost you was your pride and intelligence. Any goddamn way, Kate Middle-of-the-Road Middleton is pregnant with some new royal human being that will get pampered for their entire life because they happen to come out of a duchess's pussy. And she recently had to go to the hospital for morning sickness, just like us common folk. And for some inexplicable goddamn reason, people care. Like, if you go around on the street and just ask people, do you give a shit? Do you give a flying goddamn motherfuck about two rich people with some bullshit titles that are fucking holdovers from antiquity? Do you give a shit that they got married and now they fucked and now they're gonna have a kid? Do you care? People should, by all accounts, say no. And yet, there's people that are just like, yeah, that sounds pretty fucking interesting. That's why fucking America tuned into that stupid royal fucking wedding. You remember that shit? Everyone talk about the fucking royal wedding. I got 1,000 messages in my inbox. Fucking TJ, you gotta talk about the royal wedding. No! Fuck you! I refuse to contribute to this fucking circus. I mean, our country fought a huge war for independence from the British Crown, and now we watch their weddings on TV like, man, this is fucking great. This is awesome. Look, honey, that antiquated holdover from humanity's dark days of oppression is getting married. Isn't that romantic? Let's fucking watch that. No word yet on whether the birth of Kate Middleton's baby will also be broadcast live, but I hope so. I might actually tune into that one. I don't know why. I guess I do know why. Royalty in pain, blood everywhere, an obliterated vagina just seems like good popcorn viewing, you know what I'm saying? But I digress. In fact, everything up to this point has been one big digression. While Kate Middleton was in the hospital for morning sickness, a couple of Australian DJs, Mel Greig and Michael Christian, called the hospital where she was staying and pretended to be the Queen of England, which, by the way, never should have worked in a million fucking years. But it did. The nurses fell for it, and they gave out information on Kate Middleton that was not made available to the press.
Hello, good morning, King Edward VII Hospital.
Oh, hello there. Could I please speak to Kate, please, my granddaughter?
Oh, yes, just hold on, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, this is unequivocally the greatest prank call of all time, which would explain its virality. It was hugely covered by the press, it was hugely popular on the internet, but then, 3 days after the prank call, the nurse who answered the phone and put their call through killed herself. Jacintha Saldanha was her name, and I'm probably not pronouncing it right. She was 46 years old and the mother of 2 teenage children. Her death ignited a public and media witch hunt against the DJs who had made the prank call, as typified by the following angry, top-rated YouTube comment. Lissy Riddle says, "How terribly funny to prank 2 nurses at 5 a.m. in the morning who had spent the night, like many other nights, keeping people alive, which is a more stressful job than these 2 radio idiots could ever imagine. I hope their punishment is working 10 to 12-hour shifts for a year in their local hospital to see what it's like on the other side of the telephone. Maybe then they will realize it's not so funny to mock people who have a proper job, unlike barking into a microphone. Which is what I'm doing right now, by the way. Lissy blames the DJs, and so did many of the newspapers. But one commenter on the Daily Mail's website lays the blame elsewhere. Johnny T. Brighton says, "So the Australian radio station played a little prank. No bones broken and a few laughs had. That's until the press blew it out of proportion and made it front page news for days. Who put this nurse under suicidal pressure? The Australian radio station or the British press? Now the press gets a second bite of the cherry, a nice juicy death to keep on the front page for a couple more days, and some good British righteous indignation to go with it. Pass the sick bag. The dishonesty and hypocrisy of the press has no bottom to it, and if you buy the stinking newspapers, then you're part of the problem." Aha, so it's the media's fault. This comment got over 3,000 upvotes on the Daily Mail's site, but the Daily Mail removed it. They certainly don't want the tables turned on them. They want a witch hunt, sure, but they want to lead the witch hunt. So I see what we're doing here. We're trying to figure out who's really to blame for Jacintha Saldanha's suicide. Well, that's easy. She is. Everyone knows that, right? When you kill yourself, you're to blame. And it's not like she did it for a good reason. No happy, sane, well-adjusted person with a husband and 2 children kills herself because of a fucking prank phone call. Let's just all stop for a moment and acknowledge that before we move on, because it's a fact that a lot of people out there seem eager to ignore. But what created the environment that led to her wanting to die? What outwardly events prompted her to kill herself? Who shares her culpability? So far, we have 2 suspects, the DJs and the media. But Johnny T. Brighton hinted at another suspect at the end of his censored comment, the people. He said, "And if you buy the stinking newspapers, you are part of the problem." What Johnny failed to realize is that by his own standard, he is part of the problem. He visited the Daily Mail website, he added to their web traffic, he even participated in their discussion section, leading people to linger on the page further to read what he had to say. And remember, it wasn't just the press who picked up on the story, it was Reddit, it was BuzzFeed, it was people on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else on the internet. Let's look at the suspects one by one. The DJs, those evil scumfucks who dared to make a prank phone call. A silly prank phone call where they pretended to be the Queen of England. I mean, come the fuck on. This is just the sort of outrageous stuff that DJs do. It's the sort of thing that people tune in to hear them do. It's their job. And if no one had died, no one would have ever declared that what they did was some massively immoral act of evil. The DJs are innocent, and it's a travesty that they've had to suffer for this at all. There's even talk of criminal charges being filed against them, which is absurd. I absolve the DJs of culpability. You know, before the nurse even committed suicide, the DJs issued this statement. "We were very surprised that our call was put through. We thought we'd be hung up on as soon as they heard our terrible accents. We're very sorry if we've caused any issues, and we're glad to hear that Kate is doing well." You know what? They're absolutely right. No one could have reasonably expected that that prank call would ever work. The fact that it did is some miracle of human stupidity. I'm sorry to speak ill of the dead, but Jacintha Saldanha was a fucking idiot for falling for this. You can say I'm insensitive if you want, but don't you dare say that I'm inaccurate. Aha, but what of the media? They knew that this story wasn't important, yet they blew it out of all proportion. They made it a national headline in the UK. For shame! Let me remind you of something. It was people who clicked on the story on their phones and on their computers, and it was people who even bought physical copies of the newspapers. How quaint. They were eager to read about the prank callers who had tricked the nurses at Kate Middleton's hospital. And a newspaper that only covers the important stories of the day and none of the fluff is a newspaper that no one reads. In a capitalist system, the free market will determine what stories are covered by the press. And you can't very well expect papers to go out of business because of lofty principles of journalistic integrity that have no basis in pragmatism. I absolve the media. What of the people? Those fucking people. They were the ones who bullied the media with their interest in this story. They were the ones who spread the story on Facebook and Twitter and Reddit and every other .com and .co.uk they could find. How dare these insensitive people be interested in the world's most successful prank phone call? They should have known that it would lead to someone's death. Fuck. I guess I absolved the people, too. Everything here happened exactly as it should happen in a free society. The DJs entertained their audience with what was, quite frankly, a very amusing prank. The press covered a story that people were interested in, and the people read about something that interested them. There's nothing about any of this that you could change without seriously restricting people's freedom. So, whose fault is it? Everyone's. And no one's. I know that's not a very satisfying answer. But whoever said the truth was satisfying? I'm the Amazing Atheist. Subscribe to my channel, watch my videos, spread them to your friends via social media, and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr. Thank you very much for giving me a portion of your time.